What if I told you that the majority of modern diseases don't begin where we think they do? They don't start in the heart or the brain or even the joints. They begin quietly at the cellular level with inflammation. Inflammation is often misunderstood as something that only appears when there is pain, swelling, or visible injury, but in reality, it can exist quietly beneath the surface, influencing the body in ways that are not immediately noticeable. It is a fundamental biological process designed to protect and heal. When the body detects harm, whether from infection, injury, or toxins, it activates the immune system, sending out signals that trigger inflammation. In the short term, this is not only helpful but essential. It allows the body to isolate threats, repair damaged tissue, and restore balance. However, the problem begins when this process does not turn off. Chronic inflammation is different. It is subtle, persistent, and often invisible. Instead of resolving after the threat is neutralized, the immune system remains activated, continuously releasing inflammatory molecules into the bloodstream. Over time, this creates a state where the body begins to attack its own tissues, not because it is malfunctioning, but because it is responding to signals that suggest ongoing danger. This low-grade, systemic inflammation can last for years without obvious symptoms, gradually contributing to the development of disease. One of the reasons inflammation is considered a silent driver is because it operates at the cellular level. Long before a diagnosis is made, inflammatory processes are already influencing how cells function. Blood vessels may become less flexible, increasing the risk of cardiovascular disease. Insulin signaling may become impaired, laying the groundwork for type 2 diabetes. In the brain, inflammatory molecules can interfere with normal communication between neurons, potentially contributing to cognitive decline and mood disorders. These changes do not happen overnight. They develop slowly, often going unnoticed until the damage reaches a critical point. Modern lifestyles play a significant role in fueling chronic inflammation. Diet is one of the most powerful influences. Highly processed foods, rich in refined sugars and unhealthy fats, can trigger inflammatory pathways in the body. These foods disrupt metabolic processes, leading to spikes in blood sugar and the production of compounds that the immune system interprets as harmful. Over time, this constant stimulation keeps the inflammatory response active. In contrast, whole foods such as vegetables, fruits, nuts, and healthy fats provide nutrients and bioactive compounds that help regulate and reduce inflammation. Sleep is another critical factor. The body relies on sleep to perform essential maintenance functions, including the regulation of the immune system. When sleep is insufficient or disrupted, inflammatory markers increase. Even short-term sleep deprivation can elevate levels of cytokines, which are proteins involved in inflammation. Over time, poor sleep patterns can create a chronic inflammatory state, further increasing the risk of disease. Stress also has a profound impact. The human body is designed to handle short bursts of stress, but chronic psychological stress keeps the nervous system in a prolonged state of activation. This leads to continuous release of stress hormones, which can alter immune function and promote inflammation. The connection between the brain and the immune system means that emotional and mental states can directly influence physical health in ways that are often underestimated. Physical inactivity contributes as well. Movement helps regulate immune responses and improve circulation, allowing the body to manage inflammatory signals more effectively. Without regular activity, these processes become less efficient and inflammation can build up over time. Even moderate exercise has been shown to reduce inflammatory markers, highlighting the importance of consistent movement rather than intensity alone. Environmental factors cannot be ignored. Exposure to pollutants, toxins, and even certain chemicals in everyday products can activate the immune system. The body interprets these exposures as threats, triggering inflammatory responses that, if repeated frequently, can become chronic. This adds another layer to the complex web of factors that sustain inflammation. What makes chronic inflammation particularly challenging is that it does not present with clear, immediate symptoms. There may be subtle signs of fatigue, brain fog, mild aches, but these are often dismissed or attributed to other causes. Meanwhile, the underlying inflammatory processes continue to progress. By the time more serious conditions emerge, the role of inflammation has often been established for years. Understanding inflammation as a root driver shifts the focus from treating isolated symptoms to addressing the underlying processes that contribute to disease. It highlights the interconnected nature of the body, where systems do not operate in isolation but influence each other continuously. The immune system, metabolism, nervous system, and even hormonal balance are all linked through inflammatory pathways. This perspective encourages a more comprehensive approach to health, one that considers daily habits and environmental influences as key factors in either promoting or reducing inflammation. At its core, inflammation reflects the body's response to its environment. It is not inherently harmful, but when the signals it receives indicate constant threat, it adapts accordingly. The persistence of these signals, whether from diet, stress, lack of sleep, or environmental exposures, keeps the inflammatory response active. Over time, this ongoing activation becomes a central mechanism through which many chronic diseases develop and progress, often without drawing attention until the effects become significant. Your daily habits are not just routines you move through without thinking, they are constant signals that shape how your body functions at the deepest biological level. Every choice you make from the moment you wake up to the time you go to sleep either contributes to inflammation or helps to reduce it. This is not something that happens occasionally or only when you make a major decision about your health. It is happening continuously, quietly influencing your immune system, your metabolism, and your long-term well-being. Consider how you begin your day. If your morning starts with poor sleep recovery, high stress, and a quick intake of processed food or sugar, your body interprets that as a signal of imbalance. Blood sugar rises rapidly, insulin follows, and inflammatory pathways can become activated. Over time, repeated spikes like this train the body to stay in a heightened state of alert, where inflammation becomes more of a baseline condition rather than a temporary response. On the other hand, a morning that includes hydration, balanced nutrition, and even a few minutes of natural light exposure can help regulate hormones, stabilize blood sugar, and set a calmer tone for the immune system. Food remains one of the most powerful daily influences. It is not simply about calories or weight, it is about the information food delivers to your cells. Diets high in refined carbohydrates, trans fats, and artificial additives tend to promote inflammation by increasing oxidative stress and disrupting normal cellular function. These foods can also alter the gut microbiome, reducing beneficial bacteria and allowing harmful strains to thrive. Since a large portion of the immune system is closely linked to the gut, this imbalance can directly increase inflammatory activity throughout the body. In contrast, whole, nutrient-dense foods provide antioxidants, fiber, and healthy fats that help modulate immune responses and protect against excessive inflammation. Hydration is another factor that is often overlooked. Water is essential for maintaining cellular balance and supporting the body's natural detoxification processes. When hydration is inadequate, the body may struggle to efficiently remove metabolic waste, leading to subtle stress at the cellular level. This can contribute to inflammatory signaling, especially when combined with other lifestyle factors. Simply maintaining consistent hydration throughout the day supports circulation, temperature regulation, and the proper functioning of multiple systems that keep inflammation in check. Movement is equally critical, not just in structured exercise, but in overall daily activity. The human body is designed for regular motion, and when movement is limited, various systems begin to slow down. Circulation becomes less efficient, metabolic processes become impaired, and inflammatory markers can increase. Regular physical activity, even in moderate forms like walking or stretching, helps improve blood flow, supports the lymphatic system, and reduces the accumulation of inflammatory compounds. It also enhances insulin sensitivity, which plays a key role in preventing inflammation related to metabolic dysfunction. Stress management is another area where daily habits have a profound impact. Chronic stress keeps the body in a prolonged state of activation, where stress hormones remain elevated. While these hormones are useful in short bursts, their constant presence can disrupt immune regulation and promote inflammation. The body does not distinguish well between physical threats and psychological stress, so ongoing mental pressure can trigger the same inflammatory responses as a physical challenge. Incorporating small, consistent practices such as deep breathing, mindfulness, or simply taking breaks during the day can help shift the nervous system out of this heightened state and reduce inflammatory signaling. Sleep is one of the most powerful yet underestimated regulators of inflammation. During sleep, the body carries out essential repair processes, balances hormones, and resets immune function. When sleep is insufficient or of poor quality, these processes are disrupted. Inflammatory markers can rise quickly, even after a single night of inadequate sleep. Over time, chronic sleep deprivation can lead to persistent inflammation, increasing the risk of a wide range of conditions. Establishing a consistent sleep schedule and creating an environment that supports deep, uninterrupted rest can significantly influence how the body manages inflammation. Environmental exposures also play a role in shaping daily inflammatory responses. Air quality, exposure to chemicals, and even noise levels can act as stressors that the body must process. While some of these factors are difficult to control completely, small adjustments such as improving indoor air quality, reducing exposure to harmful substances, and spending time in natural environments can help reduce the overall burden on the immune system. Even seemingly minor habits, like how often you sit, how much sunlight you receive, or how frequently you engage in social interaction, can influence inflammatory processes. The body responds to patterns, not isolated events. Consistency is what determines whether these signals accumulate in a way that promotes health or contributes to disease. Positive habits, repeated over time, create a cumulative effect that supports balance and resilience. Negative habits, even if they seem insignificant in the moment, can gradually push the body toward a state of chronic inflammation. The key understanding is that inflammation is not driven by a single cause, but by the sum of daily inputs. Each habit either adds to the load or helps to reduce it. The body is constantly adapting, responding to the environment you create through your choices. Over time, these choices shape the internal conditions that determine whether inflammation remains controlled and beneficial or becomes chronic and harmful. The human body is not a passive system waiting to be fixed. It is an active, intelligent network constantly working to maintain balance, repair damage, and restore function. From the moment you are born, countless processes are operating beneath the surface, coordinating with remarkable precision to keep you alive and well. This ability to heal is not something external that needs to be added, it is already built into your biology. Every cell, tissue, and organ participates in this ongoing effort to preserve stability in the face of stress, injury, and change. When the body encounters harm, whether from a physical injury or an internal imbalance, it immediately begins a sequence of responses aimed at repair. Blood clotting prevents excessive loss, immune cells are dispatched to remove damaged tissue and potential threats, and new cells are generated to replace what has been lost. This process is so efficient that, in many cases, it happens without conscious awareness. A cut on the skin gradually closes, bones mend after fractures, and even microscopic damage at the cellular level is continuously being corrected. At the core of this healing capacity is the concept of homeostasis, the body's ability to maintain a stable internal environment despite external fluctuations. Temperature, pH levels, blood sugar, and countless other variables are tightly regulated through complex feedback systems. When something shifts out of range, the body detects it and initiates corrective actions. This constant monitoring and adjustment form the foundation upon which healing occurs. Without homeostasis, the body would not be able to respond effectively to challenges or recover from disruptions. The immune system plays a central role in this process. It is not only responsible for defending against infections, but also for identifying and removing damaged or dysfunctional cells. Specialized immune cells patrol the body, recognizing patterns that indicate injury or abnormality. They coordinate responses that involve inflammation, repair, and eventually resolution. When functioning properly, this system is highly selective and adaptive, capable of distinguishing between harmful and harmless signals. This precision allows the body to heal without causing unnecessary damage to healthy tissues. Another critical component of the body's healing design is its ability to regenerate. While not all tissues regenerate at the same rate, many parts of the body are in a constant state of renewal. The lining of the gut, for example, renews itself rapidly, while skin cells are continuously replaced. Even in tissues that regenerate more slowly, such as muscle or bone, there is still an inherent capacity for repair and adaptation. This regenerative ability ensures that the body can recover not only from acute injuries, but also from the wear and tear of daily life. The nervous system also contributes significantly to healing. It regulates communication between different parts of the body, ensuring that responses are coordinated and efficient. The balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic branches of the nervous system. System influences how the body responds to stress and how effectively it can recover. When the body is in a state of chronic stress, the healing processes can become less efficient, as resources are directed toward immediate survival rather than long-term repair. When the nervous system is balanced, however, the body can shift into a state that supports restoration and recovery. Hormones act as messengers that further regulate healing processes. They influence everything from inflammation to tissue growth and energy metabolism. For example, certain hormones promote the repair of tissues, while others help control the immune response. These chemical signals must remain in balance for healing to occur efficiently. Disruptions in hormonal regulation can interfere with the body's natural ability to repair itself, highlighting the interconnected nature of the body's systems. Energy production is another essential aspect of healing. The body requires a constant supply of energy to carry out repair processes, from synthesizing new proteins to transporting nutrients and removing waste. This energy is generated at the cellular level, primarily within structures called mitochondria. When energy production is efficient, the body has the resources it needs to maintain and repair itself. When it is impaired, healing can slow down, and the risk of dysfunction increases. Nutrition provides the raw materials necessary for these processes. Vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and fatty acids all play specific roles in supporting cellular function and repair. Without adequate nutrients, the body may struggle to carry out its healing functions effectively. This does not mean that healing stops entirely, but rather that it becomes less efficient and more prone to errors. Providing the body with the necessary building blocks allows it to perform the tasks it is already programmed to do. Detoxification systems also support healing by removing substances that could interfere with normal function. The liver, kidneys, and other organs work continuously to process and eliminate waste products, toxins, and byproducts of metabolism. This helps maintain an internal environment that is conducive to repair and regeneration. When these systems are overwhelmed or impaired, the accumulation of harmful substances can create additional stress on the body, making it more difficult to heal. What becomes clear is that the body does not need to be taught how to heal. It already possesses that knowledge. The challenge lies in creating conditions that allow these processes to function optimally. When the body is supported with adequate rest, proper nutrition, balanced stress levels, and a healthy environment, its natural healing mechanisms can operate more effectively. Conversely, when these conditions are not met, the body may still attempt to heal, but the process can become slower, less efficient, and more prone to complications. This perspective shifts the focus away from the idea of fixing the body and toward the idea of supporting it. The body is constantly working to restore balance, even when symptoms are present. Symptoms themselves can often be understood as signals that the body is actively responding to a challenge. By understanding and respecting these signals, it becomes possible to align with the body's natural processes rather than working against them.